She ridiculed my wedding to a farmer. What she discovered in our tax returns was incredible. The clink of champagne glasses and light laughter seemed to echo in Sarah's ears as she entered the grand hall, but it felt hollow, a stark contrast to her heart racing with uncertainty. Just a few months ago, she had confidently strutted through the halls of her marketing firm, eyes on the prize, climbing to the top, the very essence of success. Now she was standing at the brink of two worlds, both of which seemed determined to reject her. As Sarah took her place at the dinner table, an ocean of polished silverware laid before her, she realized that each fork and knife mirrored the glint of judgment in Lisa's eyes. Lisa, her once close friend, now wore disdain like a badge of honor. A farmer? Really, Sarah? Lisa's voice carried a chill that sliced through the room. It stung deeper than any barbed comment. This was her old life, filled with high society gatherings and ambitious schemes, in stark contrast to Jake's world, filled with sweat, simplicity, and fulfillment. The moments dragged, punctuated by small talk that felt more like daggers aimed at her choice. Can you believe she traded her marketing career for cows and crops? Someone snickered, and the table roared in laughter. Whispers wound through Sarah's mind, clawing at her spirit, drowning her with doubts. Was she trading her ambition for a life stuck in simplicity? She thought of her bustling St. Louis office, her colleagues who defined success with accolades and recognition, a life of glimmer and grit. With Jake, everything was quiet, the hum of farm life peaceful yet rigid. Before she could find an anchor in the swirling confusion, Jake leaned in, his face taut with nerves. "Sarah, there's something I need to tell you about the farm." The room hushed, and the tension crackled like electricity. The weight of his revelation hung heavy in the air. "It's about the land. It's worth more than we thought." The words fell from his lips, and gasps filled the space. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. For a moment, the mocking laughter faded, replaced by shocked silence. The revelation of a hidden fortune shifted the entire evening's dynamic, sparking a fire inside her. Sarah felt something shift, her determination surged. If this land was worthy, Jake's hard work deserved recognition. Her marketing expertise could breathe life into their labor, transforming their humble farm into a vibrant brand that showcased the beauty of agricultural life. But with every flicker of ambition came a tide of fear, unrelenting and debilitating. Was she strong enough to merge her past ambition with this newfound purpose? The tension coiled tighter, tightening its grip around her heart. This was her opportunity, but could she face the scorn of those who once celebrated her accomplishments? Then, when her resolve seemed strongest, an unexpected twist arrived during an important meeting on financing their agricultural venture. Confidence quailed, self-doubt set in, and just like that, the foundation she had begun to build felt as fragile as delicate glass, ready to shatter at any moment. Now, with everything hanging by a thread, Sarah grappled with a profound dilemma. Could she find a way to blend her urban ambitions with Jake's rustic roots, or would societal pressures twist her into a person she didn't recognize? As the dinner party buzzed with incredulity, an insatiable conflict emerged within her, gripping tighter like a vice, leaving her on the brink, questioning her every step. Would she find the strength to claim her identity, or would the echoes of derision succeed in drowning her newfound clarity? The days that followed were a whirlwind of anxiety and ambition. Sarah woke each morning, the weight of captivity clinging to her, caught between two worlds that felt increasingly alien. The luminous skyline of St. Louis felt more like a nursery rhyme, once comforting, now a haunting reminder of choices made. Every interaction with Jake was tinged with an unspoken tension. He worked the fields under the blistering sun, his brow lined with sweat, and every look, every small conversation pushed her closer to a decision she knew she needed to make. If she stayed in this duality, she might crumble, a specter haunted by the judgment of those who once cheered for her every success. A sharp knock on the front door one afternoon interrupted her spiraling thoughts. It was Lisa, dressed in casual chic, but there was no mistaking the glint of sharp words hidden behind a saccharine smile. "I thought I'd drop by and see how the married life is treating you," she said, her tone a tightrope of faux concern. "Isn't it lovely? I've been learning so much here," Sarah replied, a trace of defiance coloring her voice. A part of her craved the validation Lisa's presence had once provided, yet here she was, asserting a new identity, grounded in reality rather than glimmer. Lisa's eyes narrowed briefly before she smirked. "You know, I just can't understand your career change. While you were gardening, I've been climbing the corporate ladder. Promotions, networking events, real power plays. Did you think you could just trade that all in for a farm?" The words triggered something in Sarah, fire igniting behind the ashes of doubt. With the revelation of the land's value, Sarah felt more determined to pave a new path rather than retreat into submission. "It's not just a farm, Lisa. It's potential. It's passion. I'm looking to build something with Jake, something real." An uncomfortable silence stretched as Lisa processed this response, her face flickering with confusion before shifting to contempt. "Passion? You dream of branding crops now? Good luck with that. I hope the cows are ready for a media campaign." Her laugh rang hollow, yet she slinked toward the exit as if the tenuous hold on her facade had been broken. When the door clicked shut behind her, Sarah felt a transient rush of exhilaration. That small confrontation reshaped the fear that had begun to consume her. She reached for her laptop, her fingers flying across the keyboard as thoughts spilled onto the page. Market research, branding concepts, potential partnerships, ideas swelled like the crops that filled their fields. A single seed of inspiration blossomed into an actionable plan. She envisioned a local farm-to-table initiative, connecting their freshly grown produce with restaurants in St. Louis. But as her plan grew, so did the fear of failure. Would she truly possess the strength to execute this vision, to shape it into reality? The specters of doubt lingered, whispering that she was treading a precarious path. The fragility of her dreams threatened to splinter at any moment. Determined not to falter, she reached out to a few contacts from her marketing days, seeking to gather wisdom and advice while maintaining her distance from the world she felt rejected by. The more she embraced this burgeoning identity, the clearer her resolve became. As weeks turned into months, confidence began to replace doubt. She orchestrated a local event, inviting stakeholders, chefs, and potential customers. Her heart raced at the thought of standing before them, presenting her vision rooted in both ambition and authenticity. But when the day arrived, and she stood before an audience comprising a mix of allies and antagonists, she knew the true test was coming. As the lights dimmed and people settled in, she thought of Lisa, of the disbelief in her eyes, of the mocking tones. The moment had arrived. Would she rise as a voice to unify her two worlds, or would she falter, trapped in the expectations of a life she no longer desired? And as Sarah took a deep breath, preparing to speak, the air thickened with possibility. Revealing the truth of what lay ahead was another layer of her journey waiting to be uncovered. As Sarah stood at the podium, the weight of the moment crashed onto her. Through the dimmed lights, she could discern the muted expressions in the audience. Some wore skepticism, while others held curiosity, anticipating her words. The familiar flutter of doubt began to constrict her throat, but she quelled it. This was her moment, the first bold step toward establishing her vision. "Thank you all for joining me today," she began, her voice steady but laced with an underlying urgency. "I'm excited to share not just what we're growing on the farm, but what we can cultivate together as a community." Her heart beat against her ribs, echoing the urgency of her mission. She felt the adrenaline surge, a stark contrast to her earlier uncertainty. Every glance toward their skeptical faces fueled a quiet rebellion within her, prompting the breathing exercise she'd practiced. She scanned their expressions, recognizing some familiar, like neighbors who had dismissed her new life, and others, like former colleagues who had chosen ambition over authenticity. Farming is about more than just crops. It's about sustainability, connection, and transparency. Sarah shared her vision for a farm-to-table initiative, a synergy between farms and local businesses. She spoke of organic produce, the joys of collaborating with chefs eager for fresh ingredients, and the resonance of supporting one another's endeavors. Each word felt like a stitch binding her old self to the woman she desired to be. A flicker of interest caught her eye when she mentioned the potential profits from local partnerships. Could there be a shared recognition of value? Questions began to emerge, and with them the possibility of dialogue, of turning antagonism into constructive criticism. Yet, as her presentation wove through numerical projections and compelling stories, she caught sight of Lisa in the back, arms crossed, her expression a scowl of condescension. It infuriated her, but simultaneously ignited her passion. The very reason to prove herself began to cement within a defiant resolve. How magnificently satisfying it would be to show Lisa that this passion was not frivolous, but deeply transformative. Despite the temperature rising in her cheeks, she pressed on, emboldened by every smile that emerged and every nod she observed. The final section of her presentation focused on engagement, community workshops to teach about growing, cooking, and connecting through food, solidifying the idea that everyone involved benefits. As she concluded, a tangible silence enveloped the room. The weight of her words, perhaps for the first time, sunk into the consciousness of her audience. "I'm excited about what could be possible if we work together," she finished, her voice ringing clear. "I invite you all to partner with us as we transform these dreams into tangible realities." Then the applause erupted unexpectedly, a wave of encouragement washing over her. But even in that moment, uncertainty hung like a shadow. A swell of doubt began to rise again. Was this merely a fleeting moment of approval? Would they be as invested as she was, or would they retreat behind the safety of their past judgments? Questions from the audience began ricocheting around the room, some probing, others thoughtful. A few were skeptical, their inquiries sharpening the edge of her ecstatic high. A particularly tough question about logistics stung, but also propelled her to think on her feet, showcasing her newfound resolve and adaptability. As the dialogue unfolded, Sarah found glimpses of clarity in the cacophony of challenging voices. Ideas sparked, and perspectives shifted as she defended her vision with vigor. It began to feel like real growth, not just for her, but for a space where others might recognize their own stakes in her dream. But Lisa's sarcasm still hovered like a cloud, the burning question crystallizing in Sarah's mind. Could this partnership extend to even the most harsh critics? And what did Lisa know that could derail her vision? The electric tension swirled around her as she pondered what more she would need to fight against in her own journey. Sarah realized she needed to confront Lisa directly if there was any chance to unify her past and present, her hopes and their doubts. The meeting adjourned to appreciable interest, yet uneasiness clawed at her resolve. She could feel the darkened energy creeping back, awaiting some hidden revelation. Sarah had taken her shot, but the battle was not over. And as she stepped down from the podium, the eyes she once dreaded now bore the weight of expectations. Soon, she would be forced to confront not just her vision, but the one person who likely held the power to shatter everything she had built. The room slowly emptied, but Sarah lingered, feeling the grounding pull of the podium beneath her palms. The applause still echoed faintly, a distant reminder of her momentary triumph, while the deeper unease coiled tightly within her chest. Focus. She needed to channel the energy of the presentation into solid plans. Yet her thoughts kept drifting back to Lisa. Lisa, with her carefully curated persona of success. The success Sarah once craved for herself, but now seemed superficial in the light of her newfound passion for farming. She had to figure out Lisa's angle. What insights could she uncover about their finances that might disrupt Sarah's dreams? As she paced the empty space, memories of high-stakes meetings flooded her mind. Those days, filled with spreadsheets and projections, painted a stark contrast to her current life, one that felt much more authentic, albeit uncertain. She stopped by the window, staring out at the fields bathed in the golden hue of the setting sun. Each blade of grass whispered promises of growth, a growth that extended far beyond crops. The two worlds, the corporate and the agricultural, clashed in her mind, and yet she understood they were not mutually exclusive. She needed to marry them, but first that meant confronting Lisa, who had been quick to dismiss her dreams. In the days following her presentation, Sarah channeled her inner resolve into strategy. She started not with confrontation, but with preparation. She needed to understand her business from the ground up, digging through tax documents, receipts, and prior financial projections. The numbers were unfamiliar, like a foreign language, but she began to translate them into something she could work with, a roadmap for her ambitions. Late nights spent analyzing her farm's cash flow turned into a revealing expedition. Sarah discovered discrepancies that spoke of potential, unused grants for sustainability, unclaimed benefits that could reinforce her vision. Her unearthing was the first hint that she could achieve not just survival, but growth. One afternoon, as she scrutinized an Excel sheet while sipping cold brew at her kitchen table, a soft smile crept onto her lips. Could she actually transform this farm into a thriving venture? The pieces of her business plan began. With each new verification, she felt a surge of confidence, an antidote to the self-doubt she wrestled with for years. But beneath that confidence lingered another layer of anxiety. How would Lisa react to her newfound empowerment? Would she challenge Sarah's calculations or offer insights based on her corporate expertise? As Sarah attempted to envision an encounter, she realized it wasn't just Lisa's numbers she wanted to confront. It was her dismissiveness, her judgment. The following afternoon, Sarah sought out Lisa at the local coffee shop, her heart pounding. With her business plan tucked under her arm, she rehearsed her approach. This was not just another business meeting. It felt more like facing down a ghost from her past. Every ounce of success and doubt embodied in Lisa's cool demeanor. Crossing the threshold, she spotted Lisa at a table by the window, staring idly at her phone. With a deep breath, Sarah stepped forward, determination coursing through her veins. Now was her moment, not only to challenge her adversary, but to embrace her evolution as a confident entrepreneur unafraid to cultivate the future. "Can I talk to you for a moment?" she said, her voice firm yet measured, fully aware this was going to test everything she had worked for. Lisa's brow furrowed slightly, surprise flickering in her eyes as she put her phone down. The time had come to face her. Would this be a moment of reckoning or merely another brush-off against the woman she once underestimated? As they locked eyes, Sarah braced herself for the confrontation, the air thick with anticipation. What secrets would emerge from the details she had uncovered, and how would they define her journey forward? Sarah felt the weight of her breath as she joined Lisa at the table. The familiar contours of Lisa's perfectly tailored outfit contrasted sharply with the understated simplicity of Sarah's flannel shirt and jeans. No longer did that disparity fill her with self-doubt. Instead, she understood this meeting was a crucial step towards realizing her vision. "I wanted to discuss my farm's financials," she started, a deliberate calm underscoring the tremor of her voice. "There are opportunities I didn't see before, and I think they could benefit both of us." "Opportunities?" Lisa raised an eyebrow, her incredulity apparent. "Unused grants for sustainability," Sarah clarified, pushing the business plan across the table. "I've done my research and identified areas where we can improve cash flow." Lisa's expression shifted, curiosity replacing skepticism. She picked up the document, her finger tracing over numbers Sarah had painstakingly structured. With every passing second, hope mingled with apprehension. What if Lisa dismissed her assertions outright? "You've really been working on this," Lisa finally said, her tone wavering just slightly. "Yes," Sarah replied, leaning in with a flicker of confidence. "I'm serious about making this work, not just for myself, but for the future of the farm." Lisa settled back into her chair, her eyes scanning the information as if trying to find fault. Sarah fought against the familiar instinct to second-guess herself. "I know we've had our differences, but this isn't just about us. It's about sustainability, about making a real difference." "I never dismissed your dreams," Lisa interjected sharply. But her voice softened, trailing off. This moment felt pivotal. Sarah steeled herself, consciously throwing out the remnants of her self-doubt. "You did. I need to know if you're really on board. My plan can work, but I need your support, not dismissal." Lisa took a deep breath, the tension in her shoulders loosening incrementally. "Okay, let's see what you've got." As they moved through the proposal, Sarah articulated how each financial discovery tied into a greater purpose. The numbers buzzed with newfound significance. They transformed from cold data into a narrative of growth and sustainability. With every calculation, Sarah's enthusiasm ignited a spark in Lisa. By the time they reached the end of the plan, the walls that separated their distinct visions of success had begun to crack. "This is impressive," Lisa admitted, sincerity creeping into her tone. "Thank you," Sarah replied, the warmth spreading through her. "But it's not just number crunching. It's about aligning with a cause." Lisa, her expression now serious rather than dismissive, broke eye contact for a moment. "You've changed, Sarah. This is not the girl I used to know." "I've had to," Sarah replied, her voice resolute. "And I want you to see that change can lead the way to something bigger than either of us." The conversation shifted as they dissected individual components further, but beneath the surface, tension fluctuated. Sarah remained aware that confronting Lisa was more than a negotiation. It held echoes of every hesitation she had felt during their past interactions. Sudden realization crashed over Sarah that perhaps she had underestimated the depths of her own transformation, not just in cultivating her land, but in cultivating resolve and adaptability within herself, pushing aside the remnants of fear she once clung to. But an unsettling thought flickered in her mind. Would this alliance come at a cost? Was there a hidden agenda lurking beneath Lisa's apparent willingness to cooperate? With every breakthrough, there was potential for betrayal. As they wrapped up their discussion, a truce lay between them, but it felt brittle, a fragile promise straining under the weight of their complex histories. Sarah couldn't shake the desire to delve deeper into Lisa's motives, to uncover if her interest was born from genuine concern or a competitive edge lurking in the shadows. Stepping out of the coffee shop, Sarah felt adrenaline rush through her. She had taken a monumental step in her journey and yet prepared herself for the potential storm that lay ahead. The question loomed larger than before. How far was she willing to go to protect her farm and her dreams when faced with challenges from those she had once considered allies? The next chapter of her saga was just beginning, and she steeled herself for whatever might come next. The crisp morning air bit at Sarah's cheeks as she walked back to the farm, her thoughts racing with a blend of exhilaration and anxiety. The interaction with Lisa had pushed her boundaries. Every word exchanged felt like a tightrope walk, balancing trust and suspicion. The reality was that no matter how confident she felt during their meeting, lingering doubts buzzed anxiously at the edges of her mind. Once she reached the farm, she settled into her home office, a small nook with mismatched furniture that felt like an extension of her growing self. She opened her laptop and reviewed the business plan, analyzing each line as if they were pieces of a puzzle. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, illuminating parts of the proposal that still felt weak. Could she truly trust Lisa with her dreams? If they did proceed together, what would that mean for her priorities? Every number felt like a lifeline, and every grant represented not just funding, but validation. The reality of sustainability had transformed from a mere concept into a practical goal within her grasp. However, the stakes were enormous. Would seeking a partnership mean relinquishing control? The sound of a door creaking pulled her from her thoughts. It was Tom, her partner, who entered with a cup of steaming coffee. He leaned against the doorframe, his expression a mixture of concern and curiosity. "You've been quiet since the meeting. Got any updates?" Sarah sighed, pushing her hair back. "Lisa's interested, which is promising, but I can't shake this feeling that there's something off about it. What if she's just curious about our assets, or worse, has her own agenda?" Tom stepped inside, moving to sit across from her. "You're not the girl you used to be either, you know? You've taken charge of this farm, and that counts for a lot. But do you think you might be overly cautious now?" "Cautious, maybe, but the stakes have changed," she replied, leaning forward. "It's not just about our livelihood anymore. It's about making a sustainable mark, something worth fighting for." Tom nodded thoughtfully. "I get that, but partnerships can also multiply your strength. If you think Lisa's intentions are genuine, this could be a real turning point for us." The conversation sparked a crucial revelation in Sarah. She had spent so long fearing vulnerability that she had forgotten how to leverage it as a strength. Trust was not merely a weakness. It could serve as a foundation for creating something substantial. Maybe it's time to turn this feeling of caution into a calculated strategy, she mused aloud, now taking in the complexities of the situation. She could present her vision clearly to Lisa, but only if she could first solidify her own confidence. Was she, in her pursuit of sustainability, inadvertently pushing herself into a corner? As she pondered this further, she recognized a key component missing: a contingency plan. If Lisa had hidden motives, Sarah would need to be prepared not just for collaboration, but also for potential conflict. She could strengthen her own position by outlining specific terms for their partnership, ensuring her vision remained central. "That's it," she added, her voice brightening with purpose. "I'll draft a comprehensive proposal that not only includes the financial aspects, but also stipulates our shared responsibility. If she agrees to conditions up front, it'll set the groundwork." Tom smiled, a glimmer of pride in his eyes. "You're making strides, Sarah. The world needs more people like you who understand the need for both vision and practicality." Feeling buoyed by a newfound sense of control, Sarah scribbled down notes, bullets forming around her thoughts that provided clarity. There would be no hidden agendas. She would lay out her expectations plainly. But just as confidence surged, a doubt crept back in. Was openness an invitation for manipulation? Could an offer for partnership ultimately lead to exploitation? Her resolve solidified as she confronted this unsettling potential. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, throwing warm shadows against the walls of her office, Sarah embraced the clarity that had emerged from the chaos. Yet, beneath that clarity lay a tension that gripped her. The real work had just begun, and with it, new questions lingered. Would she find the right balance between trust and vigilance? And was she prepared to fight for her dreams if the alliance turned sour? Pushing the laptop closed, Sarah inhaled the scent of the fresh coffee. Exhilaration mixed with uncertainty flooding her senses. The path ahead was uncharted, and the decisions she made in the coming days would shape the future she envisioned. But one thing was clear: she was ready to rise to the challenge, even if that meant confronting the depths of betrayal. As dusk fell around her, the weight of the evening settled in. Would tomorrow bring clarity or chaos? The next day loomed with greater uncertainties than she had ever faced before, and inside, she braced herself for what lay ahead. The morning light filtered softly through the horizon, casting gentle beams that flickered on the pages of Sarah's notes. An unfamiliar sense of purpose coursed through her veins as she leaned over her desk, already reworking her pitch. The room buzzed with possibilities, each sentence she typed affirming her commitment to safeguarding her vision. She reflected quickly on the previous night's conversation with Tom. His encouragement resonated within her, pushing her thoughts into new directions. This was not just about the numbers or the elements of control. It was about her deep-seated aspiration to cultivate a legacy that integrated sustainability with profitability. Opening the proposal document, she repositioned her focus. Instead of dreading potential manipulation, she would turn her vulnerability into an advantage. What if she acknowledged the shared risks up front? Crafting transparency into the basis of their partnership could reinforce her stance, enriching both her position and the potential collaboration. With each keystroke, Sarah envisioned how she would navigate the conversation with Lisa. She could begin by vocalizing her aspirations, illustrating how they aligned rather than clashed. Yet a weighty question lingered. Could she genuinely step into this partnership with the faith that Lisa would do the same? Her instincts told her caution was warranted, but was there a definitive line to walk between trust and naivete? This internal conflict weighed heavily, yet it opened a wellspring of creative solutions. She pondered the worst-case scenario. If Lisa's intentions were duplicitous, she needed a way to communicate not only her expectations, but also her non-negotiables. As the morning wore on, she fine-tuned her draft, balancing optimism with defensive strategy. Clarity emerged in her thoughts. Every potential pitfall she anticipated morphed into a discussion point to address directly with Lisa. Then came the call. With shaking hands, she dialed Lisa's number, feeling the rush of adrenaline course through her. Each ring echoed her growing anxiety. When Lisa's voice finally crackled through the line, Sarah's heart raced. "Hi, Lisa, it's Sarah. I hope I'm not interrupting your day." "Not at all. I've been looking forward to hearing from you," Lisa replied, her tone warm yet businesslike. Caught off guard by the congenial tone, Sarah felt a rush of confidence surge within her. "I've drafted the proposal we discussed, and I think it captures the synergy of our visions. Can we schedule a time to go over it together?" A pause met her request, tension building as she awaited Lisa's response. Sarah's pulse quickened. This was a turning point. "Absolutely. I'd love that. How does tomorrow sound? We can meet at the cafe in town," Lisa suggested, a hint of enthusiasm in her voice. "Tomorrow works perfectly," Sarah agreed, feeling the weight of uncertainty ease just slightly. After hanging up, she started pacing her office, embraced by a whirlwind of effort that had transformed her hesitation into clarity. The meeting was not merely a presentation, it was a negotiation of power dynamics, an opportunity to assert her value without demeaning the potential of a partnership. But as she prepared, doubt set in anew. A guarding instinct crept into her psyche. Was she presenting her ideas too rigidly? Should she leave room for Lisa's input? Her vision felt airtight, a detail she cherished, yet the partnership hinged on collaboration. As evening encroached, Sarah wrestled with the duality of her aspirations. Walking through the rows of her farm, with its fertile land burgeoning under her care, she felt the essence of her dreams. The crops swayed in the gentle wind, a reminder of life's resilience, yet so too did her anxiety about not only Lisa, but the entire venture bubble within. Would she find the balance in this partnership, or was she merely setting herself up for disappointment? The simmering tension inside her mirrored the impending storm clouds threatening the horizon. And as she stared into the distance, an unsettling thought crested. Could her pursuit for sustainability lead her into the very trap she feared? Tomorrow, she would come face to face with the essence of that question, and uncertainty clawed at her resolve. What would the outcome reveal about her own readiness to change and adapt? The answers were unfolding. But so too were new challenges, and Sarah braced for the storm. The cafe was bustling with morning activity, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingling with the light chatter of patrons. Sarah arrived first, her anticipation mingling with anxiety, causing her pulse to race. As she scanned the room, she couldn't shake the feelings from the previous night. Doubt gnawed at her stomach, and fear whispered that she might not be prepared for what came next. She settled into a corner booth, a strategic choice that offered her a view of the entrance while allowing her to curl slightly inward, a subconscious defense mechanism. Her proposal lay emblazoned on her tablet, yet it felt like an unwieldy ship, too large to sail smoothly into the water she intended to navigate. Every minute that passed seemed to amplify her insecurities. What if Lisa saw through her vulnerabilities? What if she questioned her expertise or dismissed her aspirations outright? The tightrope of asserting her authority while simultaneously inviting collaboration danced in her mind. Moment by moment, she measured her resolve against what could be a life-altering partnership. At last, Lisa entered, her presence commanding yet amiable. As she approached, Sarah rose to meet her, extending a hand. The fleeting warmth of their handshake dispelled some of Sarah's apprehensions, if only slightly. "Thanks for meeting me, Sarah. I'm eager to hear your thoughts," Lisa began, settling into the seat opposite. "Thank you for your time. I really believe we could create something unique together," Sarah replied, her voice steadying. She opened her tablet, ready to share her carefully constructed vision. As she began her presentation, Sarah felt the tension slowly dissipate. The proposal was a vibrant tapestry of sustainability woven with profitability, each slide an appeal to sharing the risks and rewards of the venture. She addressed each point clearly, grounding her arguments in data, but also underscoring the passion that fueled her ambitions. Yet, as she moved through her slides, Lisa's brow furrowed slightly, a flicker of doubt evident. "This is all impressive, Sarah, but I'm concerned about some of the financial forecasts. Are you sure they're realistic?" What could have been a disheartening blow instead crystallized clarity in Sarah's mind. This was a moment of vulnerability, not a setback. Recognizing the sudden surge of defensiveness that threatened to well up, she summoned calculated calm. "That's a fair concern. Let's unpack the numbers together." Their conversation turned into a collaborative discussion, each probing deeper into the projections, and surprisingly, Sarah felt herself gaining strength from the dialogue. Lisa's questioning served as a catalyst, prompting Sarah to illuminate her thought process and the thorough research that supported her projections. The negotiation shifted from confrontation to collaboration, creating a dynamic that made Sarah realize that partnerships could involve challenging conversations without jeopardizing respect or vision. The power dynamics, far from rigid, began to look like a shared exploration. But then came the coup de grace. Lisa shifted gears, leaning in with a more personal tone. "What drives you, Sarah? I want to understand why this matters so deeply to you." Such a question pricked at the core of Sarah's motivations, a direct confrontation with her values. She took a breath, the weight of her conviction surging to the forefront. "It's not merely about profit for me. It's about creating a legacy that gives back to the land. My life on this farm has been about nurturing both crops and community. Sustainability isn't just a business strategy, it's an ethos." Pride and conviction painted her words with authenticity, creating a bridge toward trust. Lisa's expression softened, a flicker of understanding passing between them as they embraced the shared vision. Yet where this connection sparked hope, it came with an unsettling realization. What if Lisa's motives were not aligned? Had Sarah revealed too much too soon? The thought hung precariously in the air, a counterpoint to the burgeoning rapport between them. As Sarah gathered herself for the next part of the discussion, she felt the tension tauten anew. There were still layers to peel, moments to navigate where the shadows of doubt lay ahead. The tension was palpable, and once again, Sarah found herself standing at the precipice of uncertainty. Could this partnership truly be the garden of her aspirations, or was it merely fertile ground for potential betrayal? And as she prepared to take the next step, she realized the most profound truth. Partnerships come not only with promise, but the risk of unraveling. Would she be ready for whatever vine she might uncover next? The discovery awaited, lurking just beneath the surface. The silence stretched between them, a taut wire of uncertainty, as Sarah weighed her next words against the simmering doubts. Lisa's expression was inscrutable, a blend of interest and calculation that both intrigued and unnerved her. She could feel the air thickening with both possibility and peril. "Let's discuss the next steps then," Lisa suggested, a measured tone that hinted at cautious optimism. Yet uncertainty clung to Sarah like a shadow. What if this partnership spiraled into a realm where her beliefs were manipulated instead of embraced? It felt likely that success would entail shared values, yet they were still navigating the contours of each other's minds. "Absolutely. I'd love to dive into what collaboration looks like," Sarah prompted, her voice more steady now, bolstered by her earlier resolve. With each slide she advanced to, she noticed how Lisa's posture relaxed, indicating a shared momentum rather than a confrontational stance. But was it genuine momentum or a polite mask? Sarah's mind raced through past betrayals and connections turned sour. "Let's consider the timeline for implementing the first phase," Lisa stated. "If we're realistic about our goals, then we should also be cognizant of the potential pitfalls." In a heartbeat, Sarah's instincts kicked in. Had Lisa sensed her underlying anxieties? Could this be an opening to realign their visions? Rather than retreating behind her defenses, she chose to project transparency. "I appreciate that. I've faced setbacks before because I underestimated the timeline. It's a balance I'm determined to manage better this time." The tension shifted again, as if lightning had sparked actual connection. Lisa nodded, her expression softening further, but the moments spent unraveling intricacies were not without their costs. Being open meant exposing vulnerabilities, a risk Sarah couldn't shake off entirely. "I'll say this, if we're going to make this work, you need to trust that I will support your vision, even if I challenge aspects of it," Lisa continued, her voice lowering earnestly. "Every initiative includes valid concerns and conflicts. I can be more adaptable, but I also need to stay true to my core values," Sarah replied, seeking balance between openness and resilience. The caution swirling in her heart didn't lessen, and she felt herself remain on guard. Could she truly intertwine her principles with someone who operated so differently? Just as Sarah tried to clear her thoughts, so many variables coalesced into a singular truth. True collaboration meant not just understanding the challenges, but being willing to address the potential for dissent. As they wrapped up the details, Sarah proffered the larger picture: expanded product lines, deeper marketing strategies. Yet each brilliant flourish she added only reframed her own anxieties. "I want to generate excitement, but not at the expense of unrealistic expectations." "Then let's stay pragmatic. We'll launch with a solid pilot program," Lisa countered, her enthusiasm mingled with strict realism. "But remember that I'll hold you accountable for your words." "Accountability is the lifeblood of any successful partnership," Sarah affirmed, determination crystallizing into clarity. It was emerging that, through the tension of navigating their differences, she was discovering a newly resolute side of herself. In every moment of uncertainty, she felt a burgeoning shape of confidence molded in trials. Yet, as Sarah sensed her internal fortitude rising, doubts pooled in the back of her mind. Was it wise to link her future to someone whose motives remained uncertain? The question twisted in her gut, feeling like tangled vines, the very roots of her aspirations and fears. The conversation circled to a conclusion, yet lingering apprehensions made her pulse quicken. Stepping into a partnership held so much potential, yet it could just as easily veer into treachery. Placing the tablet on the table, Sarah took a breath, her heart racing, an emblem of the risk she was taking. Here, on the cusp of possibilities, was she ready to invite this uncertainty into her life? Let's meet next week, and we'll delve into that pilot more deeply. Lisa's words struck a chord, a necessary chorus of closure and an invitation for continued dialogue. As they stood to leave, Sarah felt the weight of opportunity and fear in equal measure. She'd started to sense that she could navigate this shifting terrain, yet somewhere deep inside, a nagging notion twisted. What horrors might lurk in the shadows, yet to be uncovered? A new level of determination took root, and as Sarah exited the cafe, one undeniable truth echoed in her mind. Partnerships, like crops, require tending, trust, and perhaps a little sacrifice. What that sacrifice might reveal, she didn't yet know, but she was certain the journey forward would confront her deeper than she'd ever realized. And as she strolled into the bustling street, she couldn't shake the feeling that the real challenges lay just ahead, waiting to catch her when she least expected it. Would she have the fortitude to face those consequences, or would the shadows of doubt bring her crashing down? The following week marked a significant turning point for Sarah as she prepared for her meeting with Lisa. Each day dripped with anticipation, her resolve strengthening alongside her fears. This was more than just a partnership. It was a crucible testing her mettle. With each draft of the refined proposal and each moment spent reviewing financial projections, Sarah had not only been solidifying the numbers, but also fortifying her self-worth. When that fateful day arrived, Sarah entered the cafe with a confident stride, her table laden with spreadsheets and charts, symbols of her hard work and newfound self-assurance. Lisa was already seated, her posture a blend of relaxed curiosity and intense scrutiny. As Sarah settled across from her, she felt a momentary flush of nerves, but quickly channeled it into focus. "Thanks for coming, Lisa. I'm really excited to present the pilot program today," she began, withholding the urge to measure her words against Lisa's potential skepticism. Instead, she aimed for conviction, laying out her vision with an assertive tone that echoed her personal growth. As she detailed the scope of their initiative, a local farm-to-table program aimed to bridge their agricultural offerings with local chefs, Sarah could see Lisa's interest shifting from skepticism to engagement. "This model is not just about profit, it's about weaving connections within the community," Sarah explained, her passion igniting a spark that seemed to flicker in Lisa's eyes. "As we integrate our values with revenue streams, we can establish a solid foundation." With each slide, Sarah showcased detailed projections and outlined prospective partnerships, transforming raw data into a narrative that both resonated on emotional and professional levels. Surprising even herself, Sarah navigated questions that once felt daunting with an assertiveness that felt natural. Yet amidst the momentum, flashes of doubt crept in. Was Lisa genuinely impressed, or was this mere politeness? The interlude of thought was fleeting as Lisa interjected, breaking through Sarah's internal dialogue. "I see value in this approach, but let's talk through feasibility," Lisa said, her tone frank but collaborative. Their discourse evolved from mere presentation into a spirited debate about logistics and implementation. "You're right to ask tough questions. It shows you care about the outcome," Sarah countered, leveraging Lisa's skepticism as a vehicle for deeper analysis rather than personal affront. Unbeknownst to Sarah, every challenge she met head-on was chiseling away at her lingering insecurities. Hours flew by as they discussed, refined, and challenged each other's ideas, forging a partnership from the remnants of old animosities. Lisa's perspective offered pragmatism that complemented Sarah's flair for creativity. They began to weave their different strengths into a cohesive vision. By the end of the meeting, anticipation swirled around them like electricity. "I believe we could launch this within 3 months if we stay on course," Sarah stated, her voice imbued with a resolute confidence that had flourished through their collaboration. "I agree," Lisa replied, her demeanor softer now. "Let's commit to a timeline. I appreciate how you've approached this work." The weight that had sat unyieldingly on Sarah's shoulders dissolved, and a swell of satisfaction blossomed within her. This was not just a business initiative, it was an affirmation of her identity and capabilities. She had transformed what once felt like rejection into a powerful alliance rooted in mutual respect. As they left the cafe, a sense of accomplishment filled the air between them, a palpable connection forged in a space that had once felt constricting. The challenges of merging their worlds no longer loomed as threats. They had become opportunities for growth. In the ensuing weeks, Sarah witnessed the fruits of her labor begin to materialize. Their pilot program gained traction, partnerships were formed, and community gatherings buzzed with enthusiasm surrounding their joint vision. And when the first restaurant featured their produce on the menu, Sarah felt a rush of pride swell within her. She had achieved a tangible manifestation of her ambitions. Equally significant was the transformation she felt inside. She no longer grappled with the doubt that had once permeated her every interaction with Lisa. Instead, she recognized the value in collaboration, the beauty in combining their differing backgrounds into something rich and innovative. By the time they executed a successful launch event for the Farm to Table initiative, Sarah stood at the forefront, her heart racing not from fear but from exhilaration. The applause that echoed through the crowd was not merely recognition of a job well done. It was a celebration of resilience, partnership, and personal metamorphosis. Now, standing there, Sarah beamed with unshakable confidence. She no longer needed to prove herself to anyone. She had established her own worth. The road she traversed had led her to this moment, a realization that the roots of confidence and ambition had finally taken hold in her life. Her eyes met Lisa's across the bustling room, and they shared a nod of understanding, an acknowledgement of their journey, each step of which had tested their resolve and expanded their horizons. As she took a moment to soak in the scene, Sarah reflected on her journey. From the doubts that once haunted her to standing proudly in her new identity, she had not only transformed herself, but had cultivated a thriving venture alongside a partner who had once appeared insurmountable. In that moment of triumph, she recognized the essence of growth. It dwelled not in the fear of judgment or the weight of expectation, but in grasping hold of her ambitions and proudly asserting them against the world. Having achieved something tangible, she smiled, believing wholeheartedly in her ability to navigate whatever lied ahead. Where once insecurities had ruled, now confidence stood resolute, and a spark of potential flickered anew. This was hers for the taking. True fulfillment, she realized, was anchored in resilience, clarity, and an unwavering sense of self. As these realizations washed over her, it became clear this was not just the culmination of her dreams, but the beginning of a journey deeper than she had ever anticipated. Now started the true work of tending to these seeds of hope and ambition, each day offering fresh possibilities to cultivate, nurture, and thrive. The choices lay before her, and Sarah knew she was ready to embrace every opportunity. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and theories about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share. Only true fans of personal overcoming stories understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.